Hello, good day everyone. My name is Shirley Calonia Cabonada, and for today I will be reporting the situational context. So let us first define the situational context. Permits for the presentation of a broad variety of linguistic items. The situation serves to contextualize the phrase, which helps to clarify its meaning. Situational context describes the reason why something is occurring and the appropriate behavior and actions associated with the situation. It is one of the types of context that influences communication. Context in the situation, circumstances, or specific settings in which an event occurs. The situational context of speech determines what is regarded socially suitable and how the message is perceived, and is most commonly employed in communication. The event defines the situational environment. You speak differently in different situations. Consider how you speak in class, at a party, when participating in sports, or at a funeral. You use different types of and styles of communication in all of these settings. The situational context is defined by the event itself. You communicate differently in different settings. Think about how you talk in class, at a party, playing sports, and at a funeral. You use different types and styles of communication in all of these settings. We have here two examples. First, imagine if a person used the same type of speech they used while playing an intense sport game at a funeral. 2. If a person used the same type of speech while talking to his or her friends and towards his or her boss or employer. This would not be appropriate at all. Next, we also have the advantage of situational context. A situational context allows a wide range of linguistic components to be presented. The circumstance helps to contextualize the phrase, which helps to clarify its meaning. Students may participate in both the construction of the presentation and the solution of the grammar problem, making it less dry than a standard grammar lecture. Furthermore, a well-chosen setting is more likely to be remembered than a straightforward explanation. All of these characteristics point to a high effectiveness rating for this approach. We have an advantage and also we have disadvantage of situational context. If students are in wrong mindset, they are unlikely to do the kind of cognitive work involved in the induction of grammar rules. This kind of presentation also takes more time than an explanation. The time spent on presenting language is inevitably time spent at the expense of language practice, and it is arguable that what most students need is not the presentation of rules, but opportunities to practice them. Thus, the generative situation loses points in terms of its economy. And it also requires a resourceful teacher who not only is able to conjure up situations that generate several structurally identical sentences, but also has the means and time to prepare the necessary visual aids. So, the possible lessons that you can come up using the situational context is the locative preposition. For example, the teacher will set the student's mood by introducing a character named Dora, who is an explorer and loves to travel. She will construct this story. Dora is inviting all of you to go with her to the beach, but oh no, there's a big problem. Dora lost things that you needed at the beach. The teacher will paste pictures on the board of the things that Dora lost, such as beach balls, slippers, sunglasses, goggles, sand toys, and swimsuits. For you to be able to continue your beach trip, you have the task to find these things inside our classroom. The teacher will use printed pictures of the said objects. So then the teacher will ask them where they found the object. They will then come up with a sentence using locative prepositions. For instance, I discovered the slippers on the table. The sand toy was under the chair, and the beach ball was in the box. The teacher will then introduce the lesson on locative prepositions. Thus, the situational context gives the students the opportunity to generate several examples or sentences. We also can come up with using generative situation of the situational context. We have here generative situation. We also have the advantages and disadvantages, and also the examples of situation in context. Next, what influence the situational context have on behavior? When we interact with others, the context in our actions takes a major role in our behavior. This means that our understanding of objects, words, emotions, and social cues may differ depending on where we encounter them. Our understanding of objects, words, emotions, and social cues may differ depending on where we encounter them. The next one. What influence does the situational context have on relationship? The relationship between the participants. Relationship could also impact the language choices. For example, the conversation between a journalist and interviewee. The journalist would likely to be polite, especially if they are unfamiliar with the person they're interviewing. This factor will determine how much the individuals know each other. We also have a lot of examples there. Mother and daughter and friends are completely different type of conversation. We also have principal and students, boss and employee, and also the advertiser and its consumer. What influence that situational context have on settings? We all know that settings is the physical location. We have here another example. An article in a newspaper, conversation between a teacher and student in the classroom, speech by a president. The type of text or conversation in these settings are completely different. It will impact the language choices we make. Let us think about the speech of a president or from a politician. What language choices do we expect them to make? We would expect them to be more formal and like the conversation of a friend and a friend, which is informal. And here are my references. Thank you for listening. That will be all. God bless.